A message to the Christian, a message to the one who believes in Jesus, who has submitted their lives to Jesus. Go through it with your head up. Go through the process, go through the refiner's fire with your head up, as the Lord is drawing you closer in intimacy with him and calling you to things that are a bit more challenging and that requires more of you. Go through it with your head up. And the reason being is because the enemy wants you to be ashamed of this walk. He wants to cause you to be put to shame, and he wants to cause you to be ashamed, which is an inward situation, versus being put to shame, which is circumstantial or in the hands of other individuals. Number one, David declares in Psalms 3 verse 3 that the Lord is his glory and the lifter of his head. So when the Lord lifts your head, keep your head up. You want to keep your head up because the position of your head determines what you're looking at. And what you're looking at determines how you finish, or even if you finish. Take Stephen, the first martyr, for example. Stephen is being stoned to death. And suddenly he looks up to the heavens and he sees Jesus seated at the right hand of the throne of God. And this is what he says as he sees Jesus: "Do not charge them with this sin." And then he fell asleep. Only somebody who was looking at God as he's being stoned to death can ask on behalf of those who are doing the stoning that they would not be charged according to their sin. What you're looking at determines how you finish, or even if you finish. We know the famous scripture in Hebrews 12, when it's declared to us to lay every weight aside so that we can run this race looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him, he also had to look at something. Endured the cross, despising the shame, and is now seated at the right hand of the throne of God. Christian, you will not be put to shame, nor will you be ashamed because of this path. It is a narrow walk. When you first start going to the gym and you want to start lifting weights and doing some resistance training, there's no reason to feel ashamed because you're only starting out with 5 pounds or 10 pounds doing bicep curls. The reason why there's no reason to be ashamed when you can only start out with what you can start out with, though it may not look like the next guy who can bench press 450, is because you're not going to stay only being able to bench press 5 pounds. At some point, you will be able to lift more weight and you will get stronger and your body will show for it. There's no reason to be ashamed of what this process is right now, because this is not a permanent thing. This is a refining thing. This is a growth thing. This is a taking you from one place to the next thing and equipping you with what you need to go to that next place thing. So do not be ashamed. Whether shame wants to come in the form of what people have to say or in the form of what you feel you're missing in this life, do not be ashamed. And God will not allow for people to put shame on you. Go through this with your head up, because what you look at determines how you finish. In Psalm 25, David says that the only ones who will be put to shame, or the only ones who will be ashamed, will be those who deal treacherously without a cause. Their day is coming. We will not be ashamed though. In Luke chapter 9, verse 62, Jesus is saying that no one who has put his hand to the plow and then looks back is fit for the kingdom. Finish this race. Finish this process. Finish going through the refiner's fire with your eyes set upon the refiner, because you know that you're bearing much fruit, so that those who see our good works would glorify our God in heaven. You have to finish, and you have to finish with your head up. Last point is that, again, as you look unto Jesus, as you walk with him, Psalms 34 verse 5 says, "They looked to him and were radiant. Their faces were not ashamed. We're lights, we're cities set upon a hill. Look unto Jesus, that your face may be radiant with light, that you would not be ashamed, because the Lord is not putting shame on you. As a matter of fact, it's a glorious day for the Christian. Keep your head up.